We got the one, the only Joy Reid.
Oh, yes.
Woo-woo. How y'all doing?
We are
We're good.
Joy, you know who James T. absolutely loves him some Joy Reid. Now, James T. is a radio person.
That's my mentor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my mentor, yeah.
Oh, he was like, let me tell you something about Joy. Yeah, now, for those who don't know, James T. is a legend in South Florida and in radio, and he's mentored so many people, Joy, myself, Sasha, George. I mean, everybody loves James T. Welcome to the show, Joy.
Thank you so much, Rick and Sasha. It's great to be here. And hey, any friend of James T. is family to me.
There you go.
Yes. Yes.
Now, the newest member to our show, Joy, is formerly from the Michael Basin Show. We got George Wilborn with us.
How you doing,
Hey,
Joy?
George. Long time. How are you?
I'm good. What a pleasure hearing your voice again, and congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much. Well, it's like a family reunion. We need to get some barbecue. Like, where's the
Right.
Now, you know what I love about you, Joy, and what you've always done. You're just unapologetically you. You talk about everything, and I say, like, if Trump were in Joy's face, she would sing the song.
Try Jesus. Cause I throw hands.
Joy, is that the song, or do you have another song?
Oh, no, that's the song. That's like, I want that to be my theme song. I love that. Yes. Not Jesus. Not me.
Yes.
I throw hands.
Man.
Yes.
Just hearing your voice and being the first African-American female in primetime evening news, when you walked in the building and sat in that chair and just looking around, what was that feeling like?
You know, it was incredible because, you know, when I was growing up, there was nobody doing this, right? I mean, Gwen Ifill, that's why I revered her so much. That she was a rare Black woman. Carol Simpson and Gwen Ifill, that was it. You know, Deborah Roberts a little bit later on as I got a little older. But, I mean, the reality is there have been so few women in this space, period. And in cable news, which is something I've been watching for, 20 years, and, being told what the world is and what politics is by white men almost exclusively, until Rachel Maddow came along. There weren't even any women, period, So it feels really like a big responsibility because, for me, Gwen Ifill was that person, and I'm very much aware that for some little girl who happens to walk by the TV while her mom and grandma are watching the news, I might be that person for her, right? So I feel a responsibility to do a good job.
And you truly are, Joy. But I'm a little confused here because, okay, the old show is AM Joy, but it's still AM Joy, and you have a new show called The Readout. And I don't understand what's going on. I want you to explain that. And we have to talk about 45 in that office. Stick around. We got so much more coming up. It is Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. We're talking to television host, journalist Joy Reid. It's Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. We're talking to television host, journalist Joy Reid. She's got a new show called The Readout, but you just left AM Joy, but they didn't change the name. So, Joy, what's going on? You got two shows now on MSNBC? I mean, please explain that to us.
Well, technically, I have a show 7 days a week, so I need to go back and look at my money. I'm like,
That's right.
So I'm like, well,
You got to go check out take another look at The Readout.
No, really. In all seriousness, they're going to leave the name AM Joy on the show until they replace that show with a new show. So different people are getting an opportunity to come on. Tiffany Cross hosted a couple of weekends. We've had Jonathan Capehart just hosted. So different people are going to host until they decide who they want. Yeah. Then when they pick somebody, the show will be renamed and it'll be relaunched as a new show.
Right.
Being in the business as this beautiful African-American woman, how have you dealt with people telling you who to be, how to speak, how to dress, how to wear your hair? You didn't say that word correct. How did you deal with that?
The most revolutionary thing that we as Black women can do is just be ourselves.
Right.
Because you know what? There are plenty of now laws in place, like the Crown Act, to say, "Oh, sorry, you cannot tell me how to wear my hair." And I've had people say, "Oh, the braids are not professional. Maybe you shouldn't wear them." I've had that throughout my career and throughout my life. And so I think that, what we have to do is to fight to just literally be our natural selves. And that is a fight we shouldn't have to fight, right? But I think in this era, as long as we stand strong and insist upon being ourselves, we can always win that. But the other piece of advice I would give to people getting into business, learn how to write.
Right.
because everything that I do in my career stems from the fact that I can write.
Right.
Writing
Wow.
is a career I can always have. If I never am on TV, I can write a book, I can write columns, I can write essays. Learn how to be a really strong writer, because if you're a strong writer, that means you're probably also reading a lot and taking in a lot of information and studying.
Yeah.
And the second thing I would say is just raise your hand, because one of the things, especially that women and black folks and brown folks, that we don't always do is we will see an opportunity and think, you know what, I'm not right for that. I may not be ready. No, raise your hand, because if you've done your homework, you are just as good as anybody that steps forward for that job. Raise your hand and say, I can do this, and then be prepared when you get in that door. And then once you get in that door, turn around, reach back, and hold that door open and bring in more people like you.
I agree. It is always about giving back. We got more of Joy Reid coming up in her new show, The Reid Out. It is Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. We're inside the party poll at 888-909-1514. Our special guest used to watch her on Sundays for AM Joy. Now she's got a new show called The Reid Out on MSNBC. We're talking to Joy Reid.
Hey, Joy, let me ask you this. I've been a huge fan of yours, obviously, for a very long time. I'm into politics probably a little bit more than a comedian should be. But when I'm watching you, and sometimes I'm watching some of the guests, how do you contain, and I know professionalism is a part of this, but how do you get through when you know people are lying? I mean, when some of these politicians get on there and they're just, it's not even spin, Joy. It's just bald-faced lies.
I mean, the reality is, for a while I was a press secretary on one losing campaign and on the best winning campaign on the Obama campaign. So I've been on the other side, right? I dropped the mic after that. I was like, I will never work on another presidential campaign. Black presidents in, see y'all.
Yes.
But I mean, but in the press secretary job, one of the things you do is you prepare people to give interviews. You give them talking points. So I see a talking way. I know what they're doing. And so what my policy is, you can try to lie on a show with me, but you're not going to get to the end of that sentence. Right. I don't believe in the idea of letting people get to the end of the sentence, say the lie, and then I say, well, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next thing. No, we're going to debate this right there before you even get to your period in your sentence. We're about to debate this, because I don't believe, look, television is powerful. Radio is powerful. The media, when people hear something on your show or they see something on my show, they'll believe it in part because it's on the media. So you can't let people lie to you. And you know they're lying. You've got to cut them off. You've got to debate them. I think that's such an important thing.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. I've gotten, a few people did hang up on me because, I brought forth the truth. So, I mean, it's kind of tough. But I said, listen, you said it in quote, this is exactly what you said. I'm not, I'm not trying to be dramatic or trying to bring the drama or anything like that. Joy, when we come back, let's talk about Trump. He's talking about banning TikTok, and we know why. We're talking to Joy Reid, television host. She's got her own weeknight show called The Reid Out. We got more of her coming up. It's Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. It's Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. We're talking to television host, journalist Joy Reid. She's got a new show called The Reid Out. Formerly, she was on AM Joy. Now she's on weeknights. Congratulations, Joy. We are so excited for you. Let me ask you something since I got you here. Trump plans to ban TikTok in 45 days. Do you think this has anything to do with the fact that a bunch of TikTok users just hijacked his rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, just flat out embarrassed him?
Or is it more wag the dog?
No, he's angry at TikTok because young people use TikTok to embarrass him. Look, the reality is it's like trying to fight AOC. You cannot fight a millennial, and even worse than fighting a millennial is fighting people younger than millennials. I have 3 millennials in my house, 3 grown children. They are better at social media than I'll ever be. They are faster at it. They adopt it faster. If Donald Trump doesn't believe that he were to somehow ban TikTok, that these kids wouldn't just find another TikTok, another way to embarrass him. They don't like him, okay? They're not on his side. They are going to troll him right to the grave. And if he thinks he can stop them, then he's a fool.
Right.
He should stop admitting that they beat him. Because every time you try to ban a social media application in which young people embarrass you, you're proving that they beat you. Right. They embarrass you. And so you need to be a grown-up and be an adult. You're president of the United States. Why are you worried about TikTok? Seriously. So it's embarrassing.
Right. That's a good point. Why are you worried about TikTok? Hey, Joy, Biden's going to announce who his running mate is going to be. Who do you think it should be?
I think, I believe when it comes to picking a running mate, you should go for the obvious answer, right? The obvious person for Barack Obama to pick was Joe Biden. I'm proud. I did, I posted this, and I'll take credit for it. I knew he was going to pick Biden because he needed an older white man that could explain to white working-class voters that he's okay. Barack Hussein Obama, he's okay. That's what he needed. The obvious pick for Hillary Clinton was Elizabeth Warren. She should have picked Elizabeth Warren because Warren would have made up for what she lacked. You double down on a first woman president, make it 2 women. You don't like this woman, she's got something different. You don't think she's that trustworthy? What about Elizabeth? That would have been the perfect foil. It would have shut down all of the opposition to her among young voters. But she didn't make that choice. To me, the obvious, if you just look at on paper, who's the right pick? If it were me, I would say pick Kamala Harris. I mean, there's so many good picks. Now, he also has a lot of non-black women that he's considering. Ms. Lujan Grisham was the governor of New Mexico. He's also got, of course, Elizabeth Warren is being considered. So he's considering some non-black women as well. But I think right now he's in a position where if he doesn't pick a black woman, he risks a backlash.
Absolutely.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking to television host, journalist Joy Reid, and she's got a new show called The Readout. We're going to talk about that when we come back as Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. It's Rick and Sasha with George Wilborn. She used to have a show back in the day called AM Joy for a very long time. TV journalist. Now she's on NBC and she's got her own weeknight show. And she's a sister sitting in that seat, y'all. We're talking to Joy Reid. So, Joy, you got a new show called The Readout. Tell us about The Readout.
So we are trying, it's different doing a weekday show than a weekend show. As you guys know, we have to be on top of this news cycle every day.
Right.
What we're trying to do is bring some of the same spirit that we had on AM Joy, which is that I try to have a little bit of fun. So we did introduce something called the craziest damn thing in the world. Because we're like every day, there's like
I love it.
Yeah. So we sandwiched that in there. We did keep Who Won the Week. We brought that over from the old show from AM Joy. But what we're trying to do is every day put these Republican and Democratic members of Congress and political leaders in the hot seat and try to get them to talk. We haven't gotten the Republicans to say yes yet. We've invited them, and they're very scared, I guess. They haven't shown up. But we're just trying to get through these issues every day. Right now, the stuff we're hot on is this bill that isn't getting through the Senate. I mean, people's rent ran out yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing happening. And I don't understand why it's taking so long to help people. And this coronavirus crisis is killing more black people disproportionately than anyone else. We're staying on that. And, of course, just the crazy with this election. So hopefully everybody's going to vote. Everybody's going to register. Please fill out your census form.
Absolutely. And let's continue to ride out with The Readout.
Yes. Joy.
We love it. We'll continue to support you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, we saw those house shoes. I saw those house shoes you had kicked up on the weekend.
This is my new life. I actually have a weekend. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm completely I'm mimosa'd out. It's wonderful. I love it.
Joy Reid, thank you so much, darling.
Thank you.